Hello, everybody. So today I want to share with you how to choose your super aligned niche, especially if it's a spiritual one and you have a hard time asking money for it. So the main purpose of me making this video, there's two main purposes. One is to share my most recent insights and understandings of how to choose your niche that will complement the other videos that I have on this topic. But the main reason I'm making this video is to help overturn an objection or kind of answer a question. There's a very primary question that I asked, that a lot of people ask, which a lot of us don't even realize how deeply we're struggling with, which is it okay for me to charge for spiritual work? Can I ask for money for spiritual stuff? Right? It's a really good question. I think it's a really important question. It's actually sometimes we gaslight ourselves and tell ourselves that it's not important, but it is important. That is a very deep question. And someone who is an ethical, heart centered person is going to have an impossible time moving forward if they don't answer that question properly for themselves. You can't just fake it. You have to actually solve this question. So I'm going to answer this question for you. I will do my best to answer my understanding of this question. And before I do, if that's your question, I'll tell you that there's a simple exercise that helped me, which was asking my future self. I just connected to my future self, and my future self told me that it's okay. And I saw myself already where I wanted to be. And I was like, okay, my future self did charge money for coaching and healing. And so I can too. And I felt comfortable doing it. And that helped me move forward. So if you want to answer a question in a simple way, you can just ask your future self and see what answer you get. I would devote some time for that. And once you do that, or if you want to, we're going to continue right now to answer this question in a different way. Okay, so this is going to be like a logical understanding of how you do it. This might blow your mind potentially. Okay, so first, I want you to visualize your accomplishments, your authority, your path, your mission as like being on top of a four-sided pyramid. Okay, so you're going to be on top of this four-sided pyramid, or, top is, yeah, it's really where you are. You are top. Like wherever you are, it's the top of this pyramid. That's the exercise we're doing here is you're on the freaking top of this pyramid. So you get to choose your mountaintop, your divinely appointed position of power and authority. Okay, and so what I'm going to share with you right now is a four-sided pyramid looking at it from above. And you are on top of this pyramid. That's where you need to be for your work. Okay? Okay, so there are four sides that you can choose from. Okay, so you get to choose, and I'm sure you've heard of this, right? Health, wealth, relationships are the three that most of us ever hear from. Health, wealth, relationships are the three main categories of niche. Okay, if you're having a hard time picking, you should just pick one of these: health, wealth, or relationships. And you can ask yourself, which one do I have the most experience in? And by the way, like it's not really a niche. A niche isn't health, wealth, or relationships. That's just a category of niche. Your niche is going to be something a lot smaller than that. Okay, like a sliver of that. Okay, so health, wealth, relationships. Just choose one. Which one do I have the most experience of? Which one do I have the best story for? Which one am I the most experienced in? Blah blah blah. Okay, which one do I want to do the most? Which one excites me the most? Which one can I help the most people? Which one can I charge the most? These are good questions, important questions. Okay, so I'm calling relationships union because it fits better on a small square, but union kind of summarizes what a relationship is. It's an intimate union of some sort. Okay, and then I'm putting the fourth one as spiritual. Now, this fourth one could be a different category, but for now, I'm going to call it spiritual because I think a lot of you watching this would choose that. You would say, okay, but what if my best experience is really with spiritual stuff? Maybe money And relationships, maybe those weren't my main things. Maybe I don't have a lot to say about that right now. Maybe health, yeah, I'm healthy, but like I'm only healthy because I have a spiritual practice. Spiritual is my thing, right? Okay. If you say that and you're watching this, you're in the right place. You're the reason why I'm making this video right now. I'm going to tell you my understanding, which is going to help you. I'm confident it's going to help you. Okay. So first of all, my spiritual teacher, meditation teacher, a senior monk, the senior monk who lived at the temple that I lived in, 30, year practitioner at that point. Now it's more like 40 years. He's amazing. And he was giving a class, a general class, to a lot of people. And he said that we tend to make, do you know like the pie of life chart that has like these categories, but has like other ones too, maybe like 8, just like a wheel, right? And you choose like, he's like, some of us put spirituality as just one sliver of this wheel, and we put some effort into it, but and it was a general class. It wasn't to like a very deep person that he was talking to. And then he said, he's like, for me, what I do is I like to think of my spiritual practice as the filling that makes the whole pie sweet, right? Because the chart looks like a pie. And rather than one slice of the pie being your spiritual practice, he said the spiritual practice is the filling that makes the whole thing sweet. This changed my life, right? Not because I, I was thinking differently at the time, but it changed my life in terms of how I think of niche. And so it changed my life in business. Like years later, now I apply that in business. And that has helped me to have a clean conscience when using spiritual practice. So your spiritual stuff isn't really separate from relationship. It isn't really separate from wealth. It isn't really separate from health, right? Now, health and wellness, there's lots of categories of that. That could be emotional, right? Um, yeah, that you guys can choose. Relationship doesn't mean attracting a good partner necessarily. It could mean peace after divorce, right? So it could be a relationship with yourself potentially as a preparation for a relationship. So the point here is that whatever experience you have in these other categories of life, for us, a lot of us, our spiritual practice is what makes it so good. It's what makes it sweet. It's what gives it essence and flavor and goodness and richness and joy. That's what makes it work, right? I can point to my spiritual practice and say, oh, I've made a lot of money because of my spiritual understandings helped me with the psychology that helped me with marketing sales, right? And so here's the thing. Spiritual development, there is a fourth category. Don't worry, there is a fourth category, and it's not spiritual practice. But just for now, pretend that there's 3 categories: relationship or union, wealth, and health. And that spiritual practice is what fuels them and makes them really good. Okay. So, yeah, we have to think about this. Our spiritual practice is not really for sale. We actually shouldn't sell our spiritual practice in the context of these 3, because we probably didn't pay a lot for it. And if we don't pay a lot for it, then we just have a hard time knowing what it's worth and knowing how to tangibly charge for it. It's very intangible. Okay. Now, in my opinion, the way that we make it tangible is that we sell one of these other 3, and we use our spiritual practice as the fuel that makes it happen, right? So people aren't buying the technology, so to speak. When you call up an electrician, you don't really care about all the wires that he puts in. You're charging him so that your house works. You're paying him so that your house works, right? In the same way, like we want to charge people or ask money for the things that they care about. That's how business works, by the way. Business is a free market concept in this world. It means that people already care about something. They're already willing to spend money on something, right? If someone buys a lot of health stuff, they're probably going to buy more health stuff. If people buy a lot of make money stuff, they're going to buy more make money stuff. If people buy a lot of relationship stuff, they're going to buy more relationship stuff. So you find people who are already buying these types of things, and then you offer them a new way to get to the same result that they've been trying, right? You offer a new way. That's the key to this type of business, is you offer a new way. And your new way is going to be some super secret spiritual modality that you make up, right? You make it up by blending things that have helped you into one term, and to create a new terminology and saying, this is the one thing that you need to get from here to here. That's how you do business these days. That's the messaging that works. Okay, at least this is my experience. And you don't really, people don't really value that necessarily, right? They don't, a lot of times people aren't, you have to remember the world we're living in. We're living in a 3D world where people want 3D stuff too. Yes, some people want a lot of spiritual stuff, but a lot of people also want 3D stuff. And in this context, you are going to take your multidimensional stuff and you're going to translate it into a method for acquiring 3D stuff, and you're going to sell them this acquisition method for 3D stuff. Essentially, you tag it or anchor what you've got, your spiritual stuff, onto a result that people already care about and that they want to acquire, that they're willing to spend money on. And that way you don't have any conflict of conscience. You don't have any issues. It's very clear. People want a relationship. Oh, I'll sell you that. And secretly, ha ha ha, you're going to practice spiritual stuff. But you didn't know that. But hey, if it gets you what you want and you value it, then hey, why not, right? It'll make you a better person. Is actually the best way. Like, this is more ethical than what most people do, right? All of us here, like, you're worried about being ethical. Well, here you go. Here's how you be ethical. You sell them something that helps them more profoundly than they could ever even think about purchasing, something that is completely beyond numbers and prices and quantifiable value, but you utilize it as a method for getting a result that they are willing to spend money on, that they've already spent money on, that they're going to keep spending money on. And so there's no guilty conscience for asking money for this. If they didn't pay you, they'd pay somebody else and they'd get a less spiritual solution. But if they pay you, they still get what they want, but they get a more spiritual solution. Now the key is, though, you have to tie in accountability. So here's one of the keys, right? I'm going to tell you one of the keys. One of the keys to this that we'll get to later is you want to combine multiple methods, multiple methodologies to get what they want, right? And in this context, what I mean is not your core one. Your core one, you have to say, this is the one thing, the new way. But when you deliver your service, you want to include multiple things. So here are 3 things that you could consider: some healing, some coaching, and some accountability, right? Healing, coaching, accountability. If you're watching this, you most likely are a healer or energy worker of some kind. And I want to tell you that this is a very manual job. When you do healing for people, you are doing a lot of the work, and you will be attracting less empowered clients because they want you to do it for them. That means that their mindset is more of a victim. They're just simply not that empowered because they aren't interested at this point in learning how to do it themselves. If you're a healer, they're more interested in getting help, and they have this idea, I need help from the outside. That means that they are in a tendency, a mode of being less empowered, which also means that they're willing to spend less money on the solution. They know they're always going to be dependent. It's just not a very empowering purchase. And it's very difficult to charge a lot. It's a lot of extra, effort on your part. It's very manual. Manual labor gets paid less than communication-based exchange. Like being a great communicator can make you more money than being a great laborer. That's true, right? And so what I'd recommend is try to include some coaching. Now, what coaching can do, in addition to doing some of the work for them and on them and with them, as a healer, coaching can help them to rewire their patterns so that they don't need you anymore. Think of it like this: a dog who gets a really good bath, that's like healing them, right? You give them the bath, you cleanse them, they're all clean now, they're healed temporarily, right? This dog goes out and it rolls in, the first thing it does is it rolls in the mud, it rolls in the dirt and finds some delicious doo-doo, and it rolls in the poop. That's the very first thing the dog is going to try to do once it's clean. Human beings are just like this. When we get healed, our tendencies are still intact, and we are going to usually seek out, unless we know how to avoid this. A lot of us, the tendency, the pattern is to seek out the same exact thing that got us energetically filthy in the first place. And so if you never help them to change their patterns, they're always going to need you, which is why it's not that empowering, which is why you can't charge a lot for it. If you create a more empowering service, like teaching them to fish instead of just giving them one, then you can actually charge a lot more for it. And it's actually a lot less work. And you end up only working with clients who are looking at it in a big way. They want to be more empowered. They want to be self-reliant. That is a whole different mindset of a client, and they're willing to pay you 5 or 10 times more for something that's, easier. It's actually easier and it's more fun because you're working with better people. Okay, so add some coaching in, and understand that coaching in this context means that you help them to rewire their patterns, so that even though you're helping to clean them and so on, they learn how to not seek out that mud and the dirt. They know how to avoid the doo-doo. They know how to stay clean longer, and eventually you can even teach them to clean themselves. That's even more power. That's also coaching, isn't it? So coaching can rewire patterns, but coaching can also teach people to do themselves what you were doing for them. So those are two types of coaching that I recommend including for sure. Okay. And it doesn't have to be for professional usages, right? In this context, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about like teaching them to be a healer so they can be professional. I'm just saying teach them to be their own self-healer, so they can heal themselves without needing you that much, without needing any other healer. That is very empowering, and you should try to add that into your service. I promise you, you can charge more and you'll have more fun too. Okay, and then accountability is part of the container. You set a container and you sort of encourage them to go through all of it. That's really important. If you don't include that, it's difficult to promise results, right? If you don't know how to keep yourself accountable and committed to your own goals, this one will be hard for you to instigate. And so I recommend reaffirming and reestablishing your own commitment to your own goals. Okay, this will help you. And by holding yourself accountable, you will gain the mental muscle to hold other people accountable. By exercising your own commitment, you will gain that capacity, that container, that space to invite other people in to then hold them accountable too, and help them to make and keep commitments as well, which is part of getting a result. Well, this whole context here is you're going to aim at one of these three results and use the spiritual practice as the fuel or the technology, the technique that gets them there. But since you may not have a habit of always using your spiritual practice aimed at one of these things, you need to add in some of these other elements, such as the coaching and the accountability, so that you create a straight line path with guardrails and bumpers on it and signposts all along the way, so that you totally, and even like a conveyor belt potentially, and navigators and cheerleaders all along the way, so that they actually get to that final result. Okay, I hope this makes sense. The ethical model here is that you're selling results and that you design a system to get them the results in multiple ways, and to use your spiritual practice, which is actually more valuable to their soul than anything else, to get them there. And so they're getting extremely valuable service from you, even if they don't get any results. And that's what it takes to be ethical or to feel ethical, right? Is to know that you're helping them, even though they may not ever get the result they want. They may not get all the way there. That is possible. You have to understand that. But you should know that because you're doing really important work with them aimed at the result, that the work itself has intrinsic value. It's valuable within itself, and you know that. You know that it's priceless. This is how you charge for priceless work, and it's just aimed at something that isn't priceless, right? It's aimed at something that you can put a price on, that they already commonly do put prices on. But even if they don't get there, the work is priceless, which makes you feel comfortable just doing it, right? But you originally signed them up for one of these things. I hope that's clear. That makes sense. I'm sure that you get it at this point. Okay. Sometimes I rename these in my own mind: harmony, home, health, and happiness. So happiness refers to like spiritual, like true happiness, harmony, relationships, and then home was an H word that felt similar to wealth. It's not a perfect translation. It's just how I think of it, these four H's. Hope that's helpful. And when I think of wealth, I think of owning things like houses and things like that. Okay. Okay, and so this was mainly what I wanted to transmit to you already, but there's a couple other things that I can tell you. As you, this is just going to help you now to choose, now that you understand the concept. Oh, there's one more thing. Let's go through this first, and then I'm going to go back to the previous page. Okay. Okay, so this is a pyramid, obviously, similar to the one we just looked at, but now you're looking at it from the side instead of the top. And now we want to see ourself. This is a diagram of you and where you're at. And so as you choose one of these sides, right? Now, actually, before we go on, I'm going to tell you the little secret, okay? This one here, now that you know that the spiritual practice is actually just a fuel that gets you at one of these ones, we're actually going to replace the word spiritual, and we're going to insert a new word here. Okay? And we're going to insert a new word that is more accurate for how I actually think of it. But I wanted to help you understand. It's professional development. Professional development, career. Professional development, continuing education. Professional development, career advancement. And so, what does that mean? That means all the skills that are used in building our career, not the marketing and sales necessarily of how you make money or other wealth creation strategies, but more like becoming more impactful as a professional, becoming better at the delivery, the impact, the delivery of what you do, whatever modalities you're learning. So in this case, it is for you, it is going to be most likely your spiritual modalities that is how you have progressed professionally, right? So your own professional development and mine, right, mostly, is our ability to deliver transformation, because we've been applying it to ourselves for so many years that we become excellent at guiding ourselves, and then we become excellent at guiding others, and then we even become excellent at being a professional at guiding others. So your own professional development, right? Now, that is not just an activity, it could be a niche, meaning you could teach people how to be a delivery person for that modality, right? So if it's a certain type of energy work, you work with angels. Yeah, you could work with angels to help people acquire wealth. or to help people get health, or to help them get a relationship. Or you can teach people to work with angels, not just because it's fun, because again, that's hard to charge for, but because they want to advance their career. And so usually you would start with one of these three and gain some experience and results that you can then leverage, meaning you are successful at using angels or whatever the modality is, hypnotherapy or something, whatever it is. You're good at delivering transformation towards maybe relationships. Maybe it's working in relationships. Maybe it's working in health or wealth, and it's working, right? At that point, once it's working, you can then create you can create a secondary offer. I really do recommend that you do it in two parts like this. You create a secondary offer that says, hey, if you want, I've been doing this type of work, people get great results in this area of life. And if you want to learn how I do it so that you can also deliver these types of results to your clients, whatever, here's my offer. So it's a two-sided offer. I actually recommend, I think my best clients and even myself do both at the same time. We actually do both at the same time. I really do recommend doing both at the same time. If you want to start with just one and then add the other is fine. But at some point, you want to kind of land on doing both together. Why? Because professional development is a wonderful untapped niche that has extraordinary potential. It's very similar to wealth because it does lead to wealth, but it's not as cringy. It's not as cringy and spammy as the wealth creation offers. People can justify it as a business expense, and it is a business expense. It means they're willing to pay more for it, and they're willing to invest more freely, bigger amounts of money. But it's not cringy or spammy or so oversaturated as the other wealth creation stuff. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, right? Maybe it's just me, but those are the ads I get, right? That is very full. That is a very, very, very full category. And it's a niche where the other people who are competing are quite good at marketing and sales, right? Your competition is extraordinarily gifted when you compete in this one. But you can grab a huge chunk of the pie. You're still a business expense for people when you're over here, but you're just more heart-centered. You're just more down to earth. You're more connected to transformation, right? You're more in touch with the heart of what real transformation is. And it's just really nice. So I think this is a wonderful niche. I would kind of recommend that everyone pick it, but you don't really want to leave behind whatever one got you there. Your success in one of these other areas is kind of what qualifies you for this. And so rather than just choosing to do this and separating from what got you there, you want to kind of keep both. Because one side of the business validates the other, and people will actively see that in your marketing. It's important to do them both at the same time when you are able to do them both. Okay, so I'll say that again. You want to pick this one using your spiritual practice as the thing that essentially you're teaching other people to do from the perspective of, advance your career by using this modality type of thing, right? Or using this technique or whatever. It's professional development using this mindset shift, but you have to validate that you have results. And so you pick one of these things first and you build it until it's working to some level that you can then talk about. And then you have leverage to do this. And then at that point you have a two-sided business. Hey, I can help you to do this. Or if you want to teach other people to do this, I can teach you how I do this magic over here. This magic that I do over here, do you want to, I can either do it for you, or I can teach you to do it and deliver that service for others. And maybe that offer has both. Maybe it has both things at the same time. which is really attractive for people. Okay, and so that is kind of what I recommend. And so that relates to this little pyramid over here, where you want to start considering like what is the category that you are best at? What is the one that you're the most suited to lead people in right now? Right. And so you are either, none of you are this, but at the bottom of the pyramid, well, at the very bottom is what I can call unconscious unmotivated. So people that you never want to serve in your business are this. They're not even students. A student is someone who's not that conscious in that thing. They're not very learned, but they're motivated. Students are very motivated to learn, right? A real student is motivated to learn. This person is not motivated. They don't know anything and they're unmotivated. Students are motivated to follow and to learn, right? None of you are here anymore with your thing, right? In whatever category you're going to choose, you're higher up here. So then a self-led person is a student, but they're more empowered. They can get themselves results. They've already become some conscious. They have experience, right? This person has experience, and they know how to get more of that experience just through their own practice, right? It could be relationships. Maybe they're good at relationships. Maybe they're good at making money. Maybe they're really healthy, really fit, right? They have experience, they have results for themselves, and they've gotten a lot of those through their own practice and not just through plugging into another expert. It's both. And then the next level is leading other people non-professional. So this is where we start helping our family, we're helping our friends. We're not really charging for what we do, but we're helping. People might say, oh, you're the healer of the group, you're the coach of the group, you're the intuit of the group, right? You're the psychic, like you're already doing it, but you're just not charging for it. You're like the unpaid intern who's already leading. You're leading others. You are a leader. You've been nominated by some of your social circles, either consciously or unconsciously or verbally or non-verbally, but somehow they've picked you and you've stepped into this role where you're doing it and you love it and it's working, right? It's working in the sense that people still want to hear from you. People are saying that it's valuable. You don't have to see tangible results to know that it's valuable, because you probably don't have accountability built into that program and you're probably not paying. And so there's no exchange happening, but still, you know that you're leading other people, but not getting paid for it. And then here you're getting paid. Here you're professionally gifted. So I'm going to say that a lot of you, whatever category you pick, you just pick the one that you're the highest at, right? So a master is someone who's leading the leader. So if you're leading other people professionally, that means that you're finding these people, right? You're finding these people, maybe you're even finding these people. You're in these three categories. Either you're leading people and getting paid for it, who are good students. Maybe they're self-led and they're getting good results. Maybe they're even leading people non-professionally, right? Maybe they're leading people professionally, just like not as much as you. And you're a master when you can say that you're leading leaders, right? If you are actively leading people who are high-level professionals, right? You can call yourself a master, right? Master is a strong word, but I think you get it. There's probably multiple levels of master. But here we can say, if you're leading leaders who are actively leading other people professionally in a powerful way, I would call you a master at that point, a master of that craft. Okay, and so this is how you can understand where you're at along, like how far on the pyramid you've gone. And either way, no matter where you are, we're going to say that you're on the top. That's how this exercise goes, is that you are on top, but you want to pick one that you are the closest to the top as you can, if that makes sense. You want to be high up. Okay, so how do you choose? Here's a little exercise on how you choose. You can think, where am I the most qualified, the highest up, right, on this pyramid? Maybe it's the one, maybe I'm already leading people non-professionally. That's a lot of you are going to be in that category where you're leading people non-professionally. You're not getting paid a lot for it. That is quite qualified. That is qualified. So maybe you're already the relationship coach of your friend group. You don't just have good results for yourself, but you're already doing it and helping people. You're just not getting paid for it. That's pretty qualified. That's very qualified. Okay. Um, or whatever the category is. It could be whatever. So you also want to think, what am I the most excited about? So you want the most qualified, the most excited, where you can make them the best offer. Now here, what I almost wrote this here, the best blueprint, which kind of means you can see already how you're going to do it. Maybe you have a coach, or you just know other people, and you can see exactly how they know how they're monetizing, you know the offers they're making, you know the sequence, you know how it's going to work, right? And so if you have a lot of clarity about exactly how you're going to do it, that will make it faster, right? You kind of want a blueprint. It's really helpful to have a blueprint. But here, like, the best type of blueprint is your offer, right? Your offer is the primary needle mover here. It's the main lever. So your offer, like if you have a great offer that you can make people, and you have a good blueprint of what the offer could be because you see what's working in the market, or you have a coach, maybe you've purchased, maybe you have become certified in a certain modality, and the coach that certified you gave you a blueprint. They gave you a great offer. They taught you what offer to make to the public. They taught you how to charge for it. They taught you how to talk about it. They taught you how to connect. Like, that's a blueprint, isn't it? That's a wonderful thing. So that would be an easy thing. That would be fast. You wouldn't have to test a lot. They've already tested it for you. So that is important. Like, for example, there's a lot of things that I could do. I had a really strong blueprint for the things I'm doing now, right? I had a really good blueprint for it. So that made it really fast and easy to go for it. Okay, which kind of means I knew what offers to make. I knew what offers to make to what people, and it works. Okay, and then the best market means, um, actually, I'll show you what best market means. It kind of means people, the best audience, who they really like, a big audience who are really hungry, who have purchasing power, who can buy expensive things. Okay, and so this one is the offer. Let's go to the. So this is Alex Hormozi's definition of a good market. So he says pain. I would just say hungry is really a better word, because it doesn't have to be pain. Hungry. You want someone who's hungry. They're hungry for that professional development. They want to advance their career. So you can sell them something that does it, right? Or they want to make money. They want a great relationship. Maybe they are in pain. In some cases, they are in pain. In some cases, the only pain is that they're not at their full potential yet, and that kills them how long the thing is going to take. And so they want to pay money to go faster. The pain is that how slow it is. For a high performer, people who are high performers and high achievers, the pain is with the slowness of it, if that makes sense. So you're still selling against pain, but they just want to go fast. That's where their pain is. For a lot of other people, they don't really care about speed as much, but they're in actual pain. Okay, purchasing power. You want a big audience who has purchasing power. They've got money. They can spend money. They really want results. They're easy to target. That's a more technical thing. So that's one reason actually that I choose professional development. Professional development is the easiest to target, because why do you think it is? Why is professional development the easiest to target? Why are professionals in general, business owners, the easiest to target. Why? Because they're already on all the platforms trying to promote themselves, right? Like someone who really wants a great relationship, they may not be on social media. That actually, if they really want a relationship, they're probably seeking connection. This is important. You need to know the frame of mind that somebody logs into social media with, right? Someone who's trying to advance their career on social media is trying to promote themselves. That's how I find people. I used to do that a lot. I would just look for people who were trying to promote themselves. And I know that I can easily find them on Facebook. So if you're working with other healers and coaches, or any professional really, Facebook is a really great tool because they're already on it and they're actively using it, putting themselves out there. So they're going to be more active. You can easily see them putting stuff out there, trying to promote themselves. You know this probably not working. For a lot of people, it doesn't work that well. They don't know really how to do it. And that's where I come in and I'm like, hey, I can help you do this better. But for you, you're not looking for them to like not know what they're doing, but you're just looking for people who want to climb that ladder, right? And that's when you can get, that's more fun because you can start to get nerdy with them, right? When you're doing professional development, you're literally going to be talking to people who see the same as you, who really want the same things as you. They're really interested in modalities. They're really interested in how transformation works. They're interested in impact. They're interested in career development, just like you are. If you're watching this, you're trying to advance your career and make money too, and so are they. And so you're gonna have a easy time not just targeting but communicating to them. They're easy to communicate to. And by the way, communication is part of targeting. If you say something and people resonate with it, that's targeting, isn't it? Targeting is one side is algorithmic and the other side is communication. If you say something that pulls people in, right? And then the other side is just the math and technology of how to find them, essentially. But yeah, choose people who are easy to target. What I was trying to say before is that someone who's really seeking health or relationships, they're not going to be they may not be as active on social media because social media is just a little piece of what they do. Whereas if someone's trying to grow their business, they're going to be on there trying to use social media to grow their business. And so that's why it's easy to target them on social media. Hopefully that makes sense. That is one reason to pick professional development. And is it growing? Yes. Coaching, healing, online business, e-learning, anything about using the internet to advance your career, to make money, to help people, to have a social life online, that is all growing, right? And so it's a big market, it's a growing market, easy to find people who are doing it, who want it. Like I said, people who are looking for relationships are looking for connection. And so you can target them on social media by posting about things that make them feel connected, right? And that's, you could find a relationship client because that's what they're using social media for. Hopefully that makes sense. They're going to be the ones posting memes and stuff because they're lonely, right? They're trying to connect with people. They have purchasing power. Obviously, you want people who've got money, who want to spend money, who like spending money. Usually you find people who already buy the type of stuff that you sell. If someone already is in the habit of buying the type of thing that you sell, they're going to be a lot easier to sell. If it's their first time, it's kind of like their virginity. Forgive me for being crude or whatever. My wife was a virgin when we met, and it's not just cliche. Like it's actually a thing. Like it's harder, or it takes time. It takes more patience when someone is their first time. My first time buying like a $1,000 thing online or 1,500 or whatever it was, like that was harder than buying my subsequent $10,000 things, right? Those things were easy to buy. The first one was hard to buy because I was a virgin. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to pull the trigger. I had all these obstacles. I had all this resistance. And when you sell somebody something that they haven't bought before, they're going to have a million questions and so much resistance. And as you start working with better and better buyers, people who are more seasoned buyers, you can start having bigger and bigger prices, and you'll get less and less resistance from them. In fact, pricing is one thing that communicates to them the value, and it communicates to them how much time they're going to have to spend, how much effort it's going to be. The higher the price, they assume that it's going to be easier to get a bigger result. And so it actually helps people. Seasoned buyers look for higher prices. And so if you have higher prices, you will attract more seasoned buyers. If you have lower prices, you attract low ticket buyers, because a seasoned buyer sees a low price and they get repelled by low prices, actually. And then pain, they need to be hungry. Okay, I feel like we're going a little bit over time here. I don't want to keep you too long. This is how Alex Hormozi makes offers. He has the dream outcome, which is going to be health, wealth, relationships, or professional development. And then perceived likelihood of achievement. And so the person needs to feel like 100% or 90%. This really should be like a 90 right here. 90% likelihood of achievement, like that's going to be how they feel through listening to you and through learning about what you do. They should feel 90% likelihood of achievement. And then you divide that by the time and effort, and sacrifice. Meaning, like, if the dream outcome is $100,000 business, or let's just say a 10K business, right, is this, or whatever, right? Perceived likelihood of achievement, maybe they feel really strongly, so it's like a 90%, maybe even 100%, but it's going to take 2 years, and they're going to have to put in effort every single day, meaning effort of like messaging people. It's not just effort, but sacrifice. They're going to be sacrificing their reputation, because they need to send cold DMs, and they even need to talk to friends and family to try to get them to buy something sleazy. So they're sacrificing their ego, and they're putting in effort and time. 2 years. That sucks. So how much can you charge? There should be an equal sign here with a big V for value, right? This is how you make offers, is by considering all these factors, and you have a value for your offer. So 10K, 90%, that's around 9K, but you divide it by this. And so you probably could sell that for $1,000 if you're lucky, right? If the dream outcome is 200,000 and it takes you 2 months to get there, very easy. Most of it's automated, and there's an 80 to 90% likelihood of achievement, right? You could sell that for a lot more. You could sell that for tens of thousands, easily 5 figures, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000. You could sell that for. Okay. And so that is how you kind of make offers, is by thinking about this equation. Okay. And then by manipulating the equation so that you have the best value. Okay. And then the last thing I wanted to say about making offers, this is a little bit about offers, is how you can structure your offer. Is it going to be a one-to-one program? Is it going to be a group program? Is it going to be a small group or a big group? Is it a do-it-yourself? You got to watch some videos and take action, or a workbook. You got to fill it out and take action. Is it done with you, coaching, or is it done for you? Right? Healing is kind of actually done for you, surprisingly. And so you kind of want to, my opinion is, you kind of want a little bit combine all the three, but definitely everybody here should be putting some focus on the coaching part of it, and maybe some of this. Usually these two are where we sit. Don't focus too much on this one, because it takes a lot of effort for you to create, and people don't really care, because what they really want is this stuff. Okay. Support, you can give them some type of ongoing support that they get weekly or whatever, continuous access to, what does it look like? What do they actually get? Videos or whatever, audios, how speed, how fast is it? And then this is an interesting question. It's like, how could I 10x? How could I literally, if I were to 10x my price, if you were to 10x your price and the value, how would you do that? Like imagine you were to 10x your value of what you offered to people. Like literally just think about that. Could you 10x it and sell it at the current price? If you can, you should do it. Right? Whatever you're thinking about doing, you could do it. And can you 1/10 the price for the same value? Can you give the same value at 1/10 the price? Any way that you can do that, like 1/10 your cost of delivering it. If that makes sense. 1/10 that divided by 10, but keep the value the same or to make it even better. It's just a way to think that can expand your mind a little bit. The main point here, let's go back to this thing. This is how you choose. Where am I most qualified? What am I most excited about? What's the best offer I can make? And what's the best market I can serve? And then you'll know which of these things to go into, how you want to do it. As I said, I recommend doing both. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. If you did, I'd love to hear your notes about it. I'd love to hear your biggest takeaway. Please share that with our group. And I'll talk to you soon.